Today's video is MOSs, and what's the toughest MOS in your opinion, Mr. Moore?
Dude, I don't know.
I low-key say worst job, but like the toughest
I'd say
job.
cook.
Cook.
Definitely. I could not be a cook. It's really hard. And the hours so bad.
All right.
Shouts out to them. Mad respect.
Without them, there would be no us.
True.
Some more thought the toughest job in the military was being a cook, which I do agree with because in my last video, I mentioned that cooks were one of the hardest, if not toughest jobs to be in the military due to the hours and the stress that having to feed thousands and thousands of soldiers day in and day out brings. But every job in the military is equally important because without cooks, there will be no food to feed us, but without supply, there will be no food that the cooks can cook. And without dental, your boy, you guys will be suffering from immense amount of dental pain. With that being said though, every job in the military gets paid the exact same based off of the rank. And so if you're one of the people who are considering joining the military and you don't know what you want to do, make sure you watch this video because you're gonna be getting paid the same as the next guy who might be doing something that you could see yourself doing. You guys do need to know that although each rank does get paid the same in the military, each MOS is different when it comes to how fast you guys are going to get promoted. For an example, the point requirement for 11 Bravo infantry or generally combat arms MOSs are lower. So you're going to be able to promote faster in those MOSs compared to an MOS like mine, 68 Echo Dental Specialist, because the points are higher because the need for senior enlisted just isn't the same amount as those MOSs. So although each rank does get paid the same, the promotion rate can be different very drastically. And another thing is that in the military, there's gonna be jobs that are cool. You're gonna have a lot of life experiences, but you can't do it in the civilian world versus jobs in the military that translate directly to a civilian job that you can build yourself off of and go directly into that job once you get out to military service. And so you have to decide for yourself whether or not you want to A, have cool experiences, do once in a lifetime opportunity things like shoot M240 Bravos day in and day out, or do a regular 9-to-5 job in the military, but build yourself off of that once you get out the military. And you guys can also still be successful if you do choose jobs like infantry or combat arms. You guys can still 100% be successful and still have those lifetime memories, those bonds with the brothers that you make and sisters that you make. And same with the other side. You guys can still have memorable life experiences in the military because as a dental assistant, I've worked directly with infantry, combat medics, and I've still kind of had those life experiences that they get to have more often than not. It's just a frequency of one of the two things: real life job skills or cool stories. And this is just my opinion, bro. You guys can be watching this video and I describe these jobs to you and that could sound like the job that you want to do. So keep in mind that this is my opinion and I want to also hear you guys' opinion and what your guys' experiences are like. And also if you guys want to talk to people who have these exact MOSs, join my Discord. The link will be in the description below. The first job that I have listed is 19 kilo M1A1 Abrams crew member, and I personally think this is the most badass job on the list. Being in the tank, operating the tank, shooting the tank's gun, bro, that sounds absolutely badass. Especially after watching Fury, bro, that could be every man's dream. But when doing my research on this video, 19 kilo is the MOS in the Army that unfortunately has the most rate. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. My last video, I got a lot of criticism for telling how it is. I'm gonna tell it how it is in this video. That's not to say that it's a bad MOS, but it's just that the op tempo for this MOS is very high. And what that means is that you're gonna be working hard, long hours, day in and day out. You're not gonna have a lot of free time. In order to be a 19 kilo M1 Abrams crewman, you're gonna have to pass 14 weeks of OSIT at Fort Leonard, Missouri, Fort Cavazos, Texas, Fort Riley, Kansas, Fort Bliss, Texas, Fort Stewart, Georgia, Fort Carson, Colorado, and you can also go to Germany or South Korea. And so if that entices you, maybe choose that job. But I want you guys to also realize what the job actually is, right? It sounds cool on paper. You see the Call of Duty, you see Fury, the movies. In real life, you only get one life as far as we know. And if you look at the Ukraine and Russian war, tanks, especially on the Russian side, we've been seeing some losses for the M1 Abrams side as well. But tanks, with the innovation of Javelin missiles and drones, bro, being a tank crewman, that is for you to decide if you want to do that. Somebody ultimately has to do it, and if need be, if I had to be called upon to do it, because at the end of the day, we're all soldiers, you know what I'm saying? I would do it, but it will not be my first choice. All right, with that being said, so keep that in the back of your mind when you're choosing your job. What does this job actually entail in real life? And looking at the Ukraine-Russian conflict, you know what I'm saying? Oof, The next toughest MOS that I have on this list is any 14 series, any air defense artillery series, because personally as a dental assistant here at South Korea, where air defense artillery is widely used because of obvious reasons to the north, I get a lot of customers, I get a lot of patients that are air defense artillery, and they're always in the field a lot. They're always doing maintenance on the sites for the missiles and the operating systems for those missiles, keeping it active and just operating it. The op tempo is also high. That's why it's tough, because in this day and age, missile defense is becoming more important each day. And from my experience, I've witnessed them saying that, you know, it's also pretty short staffed right now, and so you guys might get thrown 40K bonuses to do this job, which basically you guys are gonna be monitoring the skies and making sure that our skies are clear of missiles, and you guys get to actually shoot the missiles out of the sky, which is pretty cool. But you guys also got to realize, in hindsight, near peer conflict,
Modern air campaigns take place in successive phases with clear objectives in each phase. One of the first aims of the operation was the suppression of Iraqi air defenses. This means the elimination of anti-aircraft missile and gun sites, the radars that direct them, and the command and control centers that coordinate them.
one of the high value targets that the enemy is going to target is our missile defense systems. And so if you're there manning a missile defense system, one of the first key military infrastructure pieces that the enemy is going to target is going to be you. So keep that in the back of your mind if you're choosing this job. It's tough for a reason, and my respect goes out to each and every single member who chooses this MOS. And if you get that bonus, bro, use it wisely. And that's another thing to know. If you guys get an MOS or your recruiter shows you an MOS and there's a bonus attached to it, that's because not a lot of people are in the MOS and they need people. Is that because it's a reason? That is for you to find out and decide on your own. But for 14 series, once you pass basic training, you're gonna go to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and spend from 10 weeks up to maybe even 20 weeks to learn your job and to operate. And you guys could possibly get Fort Bliss, Texas, Fort Cavasso, Texas, Fort Sill, Oklahoma, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, Germany, South Korea, and Japan. You're also probably gonna get deployed a lot because ADA is needed worldwide. And like I said before, the climate today is pretty hot with missiles and air defense artillery. Next on my list is 12 Bravo Combat Engineer, and these guys are pretty freaking badass. My cousin is a 12 Bravo. He's also airborne. Badass, the life to live. If you want adventure, it's amazing. Blowing it up, bro. You are basically in charge of route clearance, potentially, basically destroying IEDs, clearing the roads for convoys, the 88 mics, and you guys also get to breach obstacles, you guys get to clear obstacles, you guys get to build fortifications. It's pretty dope, but it's a tough job because doctrinally, you guys, I hate to say it very bluntly like this, but you guys are kind of designed to take out the mines, if you know what I mean. Like historically and doctrinally, 12 Bravos don't have a very high life expectancy. You guys are expected to breach and clear the obstacles so infantry can go through them. And so you guys are human minesweepers. That's your job. Hopefully with technology and advancements in it, you know, it's safer, but doctrinally you guys are basically, your job is to clear obstacles. Hopefully not with your body, but your risk is higher than everybody else around you. And so I want you guys to know that before you guys sign that contract, because if you're not okay with that and there's a war, you're gonna be expected to do that. And in order to be a 12 Bravo, you guys have to complete 14-week OSUT at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. And you guys can be stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, Fort Cavasso, Texas, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, Fort Carson, Colorado, Fort Bliss, Texas, Germany, South Korea, Hawaii. Honestly, I've seen 12 Bravos get stationed kind of everywhere too. So don't really worry about that. It's honestly a cool job. I think it's a cool job, but it's tough. It's tough for a reason. And if you do it, you're a certified badass. Next on my list is 88 Mike, Motor T, driving truck, truck driver, whatever you want to call it. It's on my list because it's tough in the sense of you're going to be driving the trucks. In a combat setting, in a war setting, convoys are one of the things that are targeted by the enemy. And so you guys can look back at the Iraq war, convoys were hit pretty hard with either IEDs or ambushes, and that's why I have it on there. Although in army life, like in garrison, you guys have it pretty chill. You guys are probably just gonna be in a motor pool day in and day out, and if you guys don't have anything to do, you guys are pretty chill and just released for the day. But in that wartime setting sense, you guys are at risk for being hit. And that's a very serious. In hindsight, you guys get to drive trucks, you guys get to work on trucks. As a kid, I wanted to be a semi-truck driver, and the Army literally provides you your CDL because as a truck driver, you're gonna have to be driving trucks like that. And so say you join the Army as an 88 Mike, you get out, you get your CDL while in the Army, start your own trucking business, boom, there you go. But you just gotta take that factor in that, you know, as the 88 Mike, compared to all the other jobs that I listed before, it's not as dangerous, but it still has that factor more so than, for example, like me, you know what I'm saying, a dental assistant. And in order to become a 88 Mike, you guys have to complete 7 weeks of AIT after you guys pass basic training. And the possible duty stations you guys can go to is practically endless because the whole United States Army needs truck drivers. So you guys can be stationed practically anywhere. And that completes my list of the toughest jobs in the Army. If you guys don't think I'm right, put it down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. But if you guys are thinking about joining the military and you guys don't know what job to choose, I have a full list of every MOS and a description from real people on my Patreon, so go check it out. And if you guys need anything, let me know. I try my best to respond to you. Stay blessed. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out.